nice to see you. So this weekend we're having our annual Huskies and Heroes Military Appreciation Game, and our team will be wearing our Huskies and Heroes logo here, and then we'll have the fatigues available to staff members. And I think it's really special and really important that we do these types of things. We'll be welcoming over 650 members of the UConn Veteran Affairs to the game. We'll be having a super flag on the field for the national anthem. We're going to honor 2 hometown heroes as well as what we call America's Vet Dog. And so one of those is Joe Albanese, and he's a UConn graduate. He's a Marine veteran, a retired Connecticut State Trooper. And Justin Tomlin, who is a 5-year Army vet who toured in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's a former EMT in Connecticut, and after he served in the military, he served in law enforcement in both Connecticut and Texas. And so we just want to, in advance, I just want to thank them for their service, obviously, and it's important that we recognize them and honor them in several different ways. We're going to have a flyover, weather permitting, and then we're going to swear in 6 military members with the National Guard after the first quarter break. And then all this is going to support charities as well. So Hope for Warriors and House of Heroes in Connecticut, so 2 different charities there. And then there's a group ticket initiative with Pratt & Whitney in collaboration with Pratt & Whitney, with the proceeds going towards veterans charities. So over 3,000 tickets have been sold to that group, so we want to thank Pratt & Whitney for that. And then there'll be charity tables set up at the stadium before the game if anyone wants to make additional donations that go to people that are serving our country. So so that's a good way to start the day for us. This will be one heck of a challenge. The team we're facing is arguably the best team we've played since I've been here, right on par with Michigan last year. They've got a quarterback who I think's going to be a first-round draft pick at some point. They've got an offensive line that should be up for the Morris Award, which is the top offensive line in college football. Their 2 running backs are outstanding. They're one of the top teams in the country running the football. And then they've got receivers that not only have speed and yards after catch, but they're tenacious blockers. And then on defense, they're giving up 9 yards a game, or 9 points a game. So it's just one heck of a challenge for us. I think it comes at a good time, coming off of a disappointing start. Just to have a great challenge like this, so we're excited about it. Regarding the start of the season, when you're rebuilding something that we all know has not been great for a long time, I don't think it's ever just a straight upward trajectory. At least that's my experience in coaching, is that there's going to be you're going to make some gains, and then you're going to level off, and you might take a dip, and then you build. Ultimately, this is a results-oriented business. We're judged on wins and losses, and so by that variable, we're not doing enough. But you have to be able to look beyond the wins and losses as a coach and as a team and as a program and see if you're still making progress. And you do that by evaluating work ethic, and you do that by evaluating attitude, and you do that by evaluating commitment levels of the people in the program, not just players but everybody else. You do that by how are they practicing? Are they continuing to study? Are they going to the class? Are they staying disciplined? Are they doing the things that ultimately lead to success? Because, the easy path leads nowhere, as we all know. And so this is a tough path, but it's also a great opportunity for us to learn. And, college college in general is about, learning and growing and facing adversity and overcoming it and handling your business. So it's been really tough. It's been really tough on the field, but, I've told you guys before, I'm a glasses half full guy, so I'm always going to try to find something positive to focus on while still not ignoring, the problems at hand. Because I might be glasses half full, but I'm so sure that a lot of people think I'm an idiot, but I don't, I try not to be an idiot. So, yeah, it's been a rough start for us, but I haven't seen any dip in the way these guys practice. Matter of fact, today in our competitive periods, I told them this, it was probably as good a period that since I've been here. And there's only 6 plays, but maybe that's an indicator. So But it's a heck of a challenge this week. I mean, this Duke team is they're really, really, really special. This quarterback is, boy, he's dynamic. You know, he runs the ball. He's run for over 200 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns running. He's throwing completing the ball at almost 68% clip. He's got great pocket presence, great pocket awareness, mechanically sound, can make every throw, rarely gets sacked. So it's a big-time challenge for us.
Coach, after the Ball State loss last year, you said you saw the reaction in the locker room, and it gave you a good feeling. Are you still seeing that same response this year?
I can't say that I was before halftime of this week. And then something kind of that was missing came back, you know. Like I always try to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to like feed you lines and stuff, but like I talked to the team about this. I felt like we expected ourselves to be perfect, and when something didn't go right, we did that instead of continuing to fight. You know, I know we played hard and all those things, but there was a little smidgen of something missing. You know, and it's almost like you have to forget expectations, and you just have to play. You know, and you have to play hard, and you have to work hard, and you have to stay upbeat. And I'm not saying that you ignore the negatives, but you got to push through them. You got to learn and apply. And I felt like because we'd put so much expectations on ourselves, which I think I don't think that we should have put them on ourselves, because we have so much to prove. We won 6 games, right? This was a program that was in the gutter. And I said all off season, we're on the path, but we're a long ways from where we need to go, right? And we still are. I mean, we're only, we play 13, we're 16 games into this thing, you know, and we've won more games in that time than they'd won in, the last 4 years. So there's good things, but it's just been clouded. And I feel like our players and our staff, we put so much pressure on ourselves because we had these expectations that when things didn't go perfect, we were like exasperated. And I'm including myself, you know, and that's, you can't perform when you're doing that. You know what I mean? And I felt like at halftime, for some reason, man, like that went away. And I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. You know, man, I hope I'm right for those players and for the people that support us, and, you know, the people that want to support us and want to see a good football team.
Jim, when you looked at the game on film afterwards, did it look any better to you than it did when you were watching it live Saturday night?
Some things looked better, and some things looked worse, you know. To be very specific with you, you know, defensively, obviously we played better in the second half, you know, so we were more sound. In the first half, and it's like, you know, I'm like a broken record with the except for plays, except for the, you know, the long pass, 2 long passes for touchdowns. Man, we were pretty damn good, you know, but those 2 plays were for 100-something yards and 14 points, you know, so it masks the good things that you did. So it's about being consistent. So saw some good things. Offensively, we ran the ball better. You know, we ran the ball better without really being able to throw it in the first half. And so that's a positive right there. So things look better. But I think you have to acknowledge the good things and build on them, but you can never ignore the things that we need to improve. And right now, to me, it's about consistency of execution. You know, consistently doing your job, consistently. And if you do that, then you have a chance of success. And if you don't, you're playing, you know, good athletes and good football teams, they make you pay. And that's happened too many times. And so as a coach, you got to go back and you got to evaluate everything. You don't just pin it on the players. You know, do your job. What's that mean? You know, that's too easy. Well, how am I going to help you do your job? How am I going to put you in the right spot? So that's what, you know, that's what we focus on all the time.
Coach, you talked about execution, consistent execution. We asked the players, is it execution? Is it that simple?
It is at time, and then it's effort. But like, here's what I mean by consistency of execution. Okay, so, and I'll relate it to defense because it's just easier for me to do. All right, let's say this is a blocker, right? And I'm lined up here, and on the snap I have to get here, right? I have to get here because there's a linebacker filling here, right? Well, if I get cut off and I don't get there, okay, because I didn't take the right footwork or I didn't rip through and get vertical, okay, I didn't execute my assignment. And so what happens is this lineman cuts me off, my linebacker's expecting me to be here, fits here, now all of a sudden there's a gap there, and it's a big gain, you know what I mean? Or, so that's, it's simple, it's not easy, but yeah, it is. It's or like the deep ball versus our too deep coverage. You know, we got them to do what we thought they'd do, which think we're in man. All right, turn the protection so we could get our defensive end on the back. And so we got our defensive end on the back. He didn't beat the back. He ran past the quarterback. Our 2 defensive tackles got captured because they slid. Our left corner didn't get in a good enough jam, so it brought our safety up. Our linebacker didn't run through, and they hit a deep one, you know? So, yeah, it's like now in that play there's like 5 or 6 execution errors. But it can be one that kills you, or it can be multiple ones that get you. So, yeah, it is. But the thing is you can't just go, well, it's execution. You go, why? Why aren't we executing perfectly? And you're never going to have a perfect football game, but why is there an inconsistency of execution? Is it the way we're teaching it? Are we asking them to do things that they're not capable of? You know, are we putting them in the best position all the time? Are we practicing the right things? And then when you send them across that white line, you got to have confidence that you've done all those things, and they got to go execute. But we all have to own it. You know, we all have to own it if it's not getting done.
Did your father know John McKay?
My father know John McKay? Oh, yeah. I've known him. You know, my dad's a SC guy, so.
When they talk execution, I think back and they asked Coach McKay.
Yeah, that was a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all for it.
Yeah. No, I love my players. I love our players. I mean, I'm not like that, you know. Like, you know, I was thinking about that on the field. You know, there's a lot of things I could be doing in my life, you know, right now. And there's a lot of things that I love to do. You know, I love to fly fish, and I love to ski, and I love to mountain bike, and I love to hike, and I love being with my family. And, you know, I could get another job doing something else and do all those things, but there's no place I'd rather be than right here with these people, you know, because it's a special place. And I've been in a lot of different organizations, and, you know, I'm not just blowing smoke to the people around here, but this is different. It's different here. It's special, you know. It feels to me like when I was with San Francisco. We had something there. Now, we were winning, and we built something, and Bill Walsh had built it, and, you know, George Seifert had built it, and Mooch and all those guys, but it's the same kind of I hate using the word culture all the time, because culture is like this buzzword that everyone's used. It's the same type of like feeling. So that's what gives me hope, you know. And I get to be around these guys. I love it. So I would never use the John McKay. I'm all for it. No, I love these guys, man. My job is to support them, you know. Like, I'm only doing this because, well, I love coaching football, which means I love football players, and I love coaching football players, and I love a challenge, and this is a hell of a challenge right now.
Coach, with Taquan's second start, are you able to adjust the offense a little bit more for things that he does well and different things, and how is that?
That's yeah, absolutely. You know, I was asked that question last week if we need to adjust the offense, and I think my answer was, well, we do what we do, and, you know, they're both pretty similar in style. But after a start, and really, you know, my dad reminded me of this. That's the first full football game Taquan's played since high school, I think, you know, which has been like 4 years. And, you know, it's different when you start a game as opposed to when you come in a game late, like the Georgia State game. You know, it's just a different vibe. We see that all the time. You see a guy come in and play really well, and then the next week when he has all the reps, you think he's going to do better, and they kind of take a step back. And so I think we just have a better feel now for what we need to do with him, you know. And we need to help him by running the football. We need to help him by making contested catches. If our receivers are having trouble getting open, then we need to get them open schematically, you know. And so just trying to learn and grow as we get to know him better will help us.
And is there something you guys plan to do more with the tight ends? It doesn't seem like they've been utilized very much, and that just from somebody who's just watching.
You mean in the pass game?
In the pass game and across the middle when they're, you know,
well,
getting in the box.
Justin's got the second most targets, and I think the second most catches on the team after Buckman. You know, and I mean, targets matter. No, I mean, our you know, pass concepts are developed usually to get someone open, but defenses are developed to take someone away. And in every defense, there's a strength and a weakness. And, you know, when you've got a dynamic player like Justin, and we call him like an H-back, 'cause he's not really a tight end, people focus on him. But, you know, we threw the ball to him, I think, 9 or 10 times the other day, you know. So we're still trying to get it to the guys that can make plays. And that's what you have to do, you know. That's what you have to do. And we'll keep working on it. Yeah, but I love to see the ball in his hands. You know, I'm all for getting the ball to him. I'm all for it.
When you talk about a different attitude at halftime, was the team more angry than frustrated? I mean, you said you felt a little different.
It's a great question because there had been a frustration. You know what I mean? Like the first 2 weeks, there'd been like a frustration, and I felt like the frustration went away. It was replaced by anger, and not like a negative anger, like an intensity. You know, like the frustration, like everything's going wrong. When one thing goes wrong, was replaced by a screw it. We're back in the frickin' mud. It's time to frickin', you know, just that type of mindset. Does that make sense? You know, and I'd like to see it carry on. And this, like I said earlier, now this Duke team is they're really good, and I can't wait to see us go out and compete. You know, if we compete, you know, we'll see what happens.
Have you identified anything that you want to change? Is something that you've determined is not going to work, or is working, and you want to change?
Schematically? Yeah, you know, every week you do, you know, every week. And, you know, you try to tighten some things up or expand some roles, you know, as you learn, you know, more and more about what your players can do and how to best use them. I think, you know, Dom, to answer your question with regards to what kind of connecting to what I just said about receivers, if guys are struggling to get open, finding, you know, changing some things in route structure to work to get them open. You know what I mean? If they're not beating the press outside, then, you know, getting them in position where people can't press them by moving them or something like that. You know, defensively, you know, I tend to sometimes maybe try to be a little too creative. And I have to realize that these are college students that have class and all that, and, you know, giving them an opportunity to play fast sometimes means simplifying just a little bit, you know, and so those changes are always being made. And then every week, you know, as you go to face a new opponent, you have to make changes because they do different things that demand you do different things schematically.
Talk about making progress, and obviously Duke is a very good team. You know, what does progress look like this week against you?
Competitiveness and effort, yeah, you know, and consistency of execution. Okay, like to me, playing with a noticeable passion, playing with maniacal effort, regardless of what the circumstances are. Like your effort can never be tied to your circumstance. If you tie your effort and your attitude to your circumstance, then you're destined to fail. But if your attitude and your effort are independent of the circumstances that you're in as a human being, I mean, in any profession that we're in, then you have a chance to be successful. You know, as long as you hold yourself to that high standard. So to me, that's a way to measure success. Now, everyone else is going to measure it off the scoreboard, and I ultimately am too, right? But you have to, like Dick Vermeil, I told you guys this last year. Dick Vermeil said it. He said, we have to find enough success in pursuit of it that it confirms that we're on the right path. You know what I mean? I know it could just be word garbage, but it meant something to me, knowing him as I do. You know, we have to find those victories, like you said. So that's kind of the answer.
Jim, I think the opponents are different or in a different order. But last year you were 1-4.
I know.
And pulled yourselves out of it and won some games that maybe didn't look like you were going to be able to win when you were 1-4. Do you have the optimism, or what gives you optimism that you can maybe do that again?
Yes, I do. And what gives me the optimism is the people in the building and how important it is to them and the attitude they bring to work every day. And when I say work, I mean practice for the players, work for the coaches, the way they've stuck together. And, you know, maybe what happened at halftime a little bit in terms of just the change in the mindset. You know, you brought that up. I brought it up to the team on Sunday at our dinner. I said, you know, last year at one point we were sitting here 1-4. In the previous 3 games that we had just played, we'd given up 148 points and scored 24. And then we went 4-1 over the next 5 games, you know. And, yeah, I reminded them of that. I said, you know, we gotta be that gritty little team again. You know, we gotta be that gritty little team. We can't expect anything. We gotta fight for everything. And you know, I believe that you know, they heard me. I believe they heard me.
What impresses you about Coach Elko and what the job he's done in his 2 years there at Duke? Obviously, he's got in the top 20.
Well, he's done a tremendous job, number one, of recruiting through the portal and recruiting in general. They've added some really, really good players. He's done a great job of shoring up their offensive line. They've got a tremendous offensive line. You know, he's a defensive guy. I think, you know, he's hired guys that are familiar with him to run his defense. And, you know, they're only giving up 9 points a game. But I think his ability to get them very competitive very quickly, you know, speaks, number one, to his ability to coach, and his ability to recruit, both in the portal and out of the portal. And the transfer portal has become so incredibly important right now, you know, and he's been able to attract some really good players there, and they're making an impact. I mean, he's a damn good coach, you know. He's got a great background.
You mentioned Victor Rosa had some back spasms. The Brian Becker, can you speak to that and speak to Brian as well?
Yeah. Vic in the game, it was more shoulder, which I didn't know until after the game. You know, his back was bothering him, but it was more his shoulder that was bothering him. You know, so his productivity was down a little bit because of that. We need to get more out of Jalen Mitchell. We need to get more out of Cam Edwards. You know, I told you guys during camp, I felt like Cam was one of the most improved guys on the team, and I think it's time for him to get some carries. Not having Brian certainly hurts our depth. You know, we loved having Brian here. You know, and it was really surprising to me that, you know, he decided that he was going to sit and enter the portal because we valued him. You know, this is you know, he's a little guy that, you know, has been hurt a lot, but he had value to us. So, you know, we can't worry about that. That's a decision he made. So I think, you know, getting more productivity out of Jalen, getting more productivity out of Cam, or giving Cam opportunities actually. Because I don't think we're doing the right thing long term if we continue to ask Devontae to carry the ball 19, 20 times at his size. It's just, you know, it's not gonna work. He's gonna get beat up, and that's a tough sucker, man. He's a tough dude. So we have to involve more guys. We got to force them to play, and they got to go produce. And Victor's got to get healthy, and he's got to be productive. And we saw him come on last season, and I think we'll see the same thing from him because he cares, you know.
When you talk about improvement in the defense in the second half last week, what specific things were you seeing them do better?
Really, honestly, two things. Execution, okay, so you can go back to my whole little thing here, and effort. And really, that was it, you know. And you know, I don't know if you notice it, but I noticed, like, what happens after a good play. You know, are guys excited and celebrating together, or are they just walling around and going back to the line of scrimmage to get ready for the next play? And what has been happening is just kind of, well, and then what started happening is that there was some excitement after good plays, right? And some enthusiasm and energy and passion. To me, great defenses play with that all the time. And we weren't playing that way in the first half. So that execution and the effort, and that creates that energy that you need to be a good defense.
To clarify, do you expect Victor to play this week?
Excuse me?
Is Rose going to play this week?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, yeah, he's just beat up. You know, yeah, but he's not injured. He's hurting, but he's not injured. Yeah, there's a difference there, you know. Okay, and then if you can say something about, if you want to, it'd be great, just because it's you know, Pratt & Whitney's kind of behind a lot of this, and it's just, you know, it's important to us. My dad is a Marine, and you know, we're all affected, and our military is underappreciated, in my opinion. So if you can just mention anything, it'd be great. So appreciate you, and I will not be wearing this because green's not my color. So see you.